welcome back to Romance Well. This is your girl Charley, and this is Wolfgang, Grae Bryan, Vampire's Mate, Book 5. Hit it!
Grab yourself a book, turn the lights down low. It's time, everybody, for Romance in the Woe.
Wolfgang, Book 5, by Grae Bryan, is a gay vampire romance. Now, the premise is this, is that you have these vampires. All the vampires were born human. They were turned into vampires, and as soon as they're turned, you have like this inner being. So you have like another party with like what they call your beast or your monster, and you know what they're thinking, they know what you're thinking, and the thing that they want is they want to find their fated mate. Now, their fated mate will calm them. It will keep them from eventually becoming feral. Now, this might take centuries. It might take less than that time, but you want your fated mate. And of course, your fated mate will also have to be turned to a vampire for you to exist forever. So Wolfgang, of course, was born human, and he was basically a psychopath. He was just born different. He would become possessive of everything he owned. Possessive of his toys, possessive of his nannies, and his parents said there was something wrong with them. So he punished him because they were very wealthy, they were part of the elite, and you just didn't go against the grain. You had to be a certain way. And Wolfgang just was not like everybody else, and his parents knew. So, excuse me, so Wolfgang eventually learned, okay, you had to pretend to be a certain way. And what happens is that he comes across a vampire couple. He sees them, he sees how they are with each other, because he realizes that those two people, they belong to each other. He's never had anything that belonged to him, directly. He wants that. He wants that one being that will always be his. They'll always want just him only, and will never like leave him. Because even though he's a psychopath, his goal is to find that one person, his fated mate, the person that is perfect for him. So he's turned to a vampire by this couple. He asked them to. And in their mind, the couple thinks they've kind of adopted Wolfgang, even though Wolfgang is very polished. He's very posh. He's the vampire who's going to be wearing the suit. His hair is very coiffed. He's perfect. Now, he's deadly. Don't get me wrong. He will kill you in an instant. He doesn't really have a lot of, he's kind of gray along that line of good and bad. He's kind of on the edge of that. So he goes through life, and eventually, through all the different books, he knows of Jay. Now, Jason's a vampire. And through Jay, he finds out about fated mates. Now, he was aware of them, but now he's like, okay, let me stay near Jay. Now, Jay's got money. There's more to it than that, but I want you to read the other books to kind of follow along with me. Because if you read this book, you could do it as a standalone, but you're going to want to read all the other books to catch up on all the other characters because they're mentioned in this book. So this is why he's actually at Hyde Park, which is the town that Jay lives in. Excuse me. So Wolfgang goes there, and that is when he sees Eric Monroe. Now, Eric Monroe has mentioned in the book. He's kind of just being kind of slimy. And I didn't know how they were going to do this. Like, I thought, how are they going to make it so you like Eric? Well, you realize that in Eric's life, he grew up with parents who there was no emotion. They basically used him. They said, you're going to become a doctor, so you can basically give us money. You have to buy our affection. And Eric is just so greedy for wanting affection from other people. Now, he's not a horrible human being, don't get me wrong. I think deep down he does have, he's a doctor. He is caring. Now, he doesn't want to be a doctor. Don't get me wrong. He feels like he doesn't have the emotion like other doctors have. He's always trying to find a connection to someone else, and he does that through sex. He has had a lot of one-night stands, but people don't understand him. They use him as he's trying to use them because he wants a bond with someone, some affection. They're just using him for that moment, for that thrill, that excitement. As soon as Wolfgang sees Eric, he knows that's his fated mate. He's going to take him, and he does take him. Now, this goes against the rules. It's supposed to be consensual. Wolfgang doesn't follow other people's rules. He follows his own. So he immediately kidnaps Eric. He takes him. He turns him, which is, again, against the rules. It has to be consensual. But Wolfgang's like, no, you're mine. I'm keeping you. You're like my toy. I'm keeping you. But it's deeper than that. And the relationship they have with each other is very interesting because Eric, even his own, he's scared at the moment of, okay, he's been turned, his life's been changed forever. He's like a little fussy with Wolfgang. But there's that, wait a second, you picked me. Because Eric does feel bad about the things he's done as far as relationships. He thinks like, okay, no one's going to really want me. I'm a temporary. I'm not a permanent. No one could ever love me, could ever want me for long. In a way, and Wolfgang is wanting Eric. He's wanting that treasure, which is Eric. And they're really sweet because, where Wolfgang is very posh and he's very proper in the way he speaks. And of course, he's very deadly. Don't get me wrong. He is a psychopath. He's very deadly. He will snap your neck in an instant. Eric is kind of like, he wants to watch a football game. He wants to chillax, but he's highly intelligent. Don't be wrong. I'm not trying to, diss Eric in any way. But this is just a different in the way they are. Because they're brought totally different areas of the world and time frames. But they fit so well together. It's one of those things where Eric starts wanting, like, can you hold my hand? Can I sit in your lap? Just little things like that. And that's the thing with Grae Bryan that she does so well. Is she does these little vulnerabilities in these men sometimes, where it's like those little things, like can I hold your hand? It's just so sweet, and you start to see, there's a softness to Eric. There's a softness to Wolfgang, because when Eric says, can you hold my hand? That's a thrill for Wolfgang. And the one thing you also have to know is, like, when the vampires, when they finally turn their mate, they can feel each other's emotions. So when Eric feels something, Wolfgang's gonna feel it, and vice versa. Now you find out there's this whole other backstory is gonna happen, where someone is turning other people against their will for a bad reason. You have to bring in all the other vampires, to solve the solution, which is solved in the next book. So it's a continuation. Now the thing is, there is a flow of these books. So yes, this is book 5, but I would highly recommend, you can read book 5, because Wolfgang is an amazing book. Love this book so much. There's nothing wrong with this book whatsoever. It's just perfect, in my opinion. But you're going to want to read all the other books. You want to read about, Danny Roman and Soren and Gabe and all the others. And it's just, there's humor to it too. I love books that throw some humor in there. So I highly recommend Wolfgang, book 5 by Grae Bryan. This is a gay vampire romance. Until next time, it's your girl Charley.